next up, guys, we're going to take a look at the forwards. I'm kind of the belief that the Oilers don't really need to add much at forward. We've talked about possibly maybe bringing Dylan Holloway up. What are your thoughts on Dylan Holloway, Mike?
Well, you know what? Kind of like what we had talked about earlier about Stuart Skinner. I really think that, he's really starting to fly down in the AHL. Bakersfield, he's really kind of rounding out his game. Seems like he's getting back to form. But I really think personally that I think he stays down there. You leave him down there for the rest of this year. He gets some playoff prowess with Bakersfield this year, and then he goes and has a hell of an offseason, and then he comes in to training camp next year, bigger, stronger, ready to go, ready to fight for that mid-six position that I know he's probably going to go after. But that's my thoughts. I don't think we're doing him any favors by bringing him into a position like we would a Stuart Skinner by bringing him up here and putting him in a mid-six position, or... I'm sorry, you're not just going to go and throw him up on the wing with Connor playing against all the best teams players in the NHL. I don't think that. I think that's defeating the purpose because the AHL is not the NHL. I think that, you look at the rise of Ryan McLeod over this course of this season, Tippett kind of just, tippy-toed with him. Woodcroft, knowing the player so well, really knows how to put these young players in the proper positions for success. He skated through 4 Tampa Bay players last night, rang it off the crossbar. Like, I thought it was Connor. And then I looked at the jersey and I was like, what the hell?
I didn't see anyone predicting that Ryan McLeod could play in the top 6. After
we were talking third line center.
Well, that, yeah, and after he was sent down, 3-4 games into the year. Saw a bunch of people, we're not going to see McLeod for the rest of the year. Well, not only did he come back, he stayed, and he's proven that he should be staying. He's basically been a top 6 forward for the Oilers. I don't think he's a top 6 option going forward. You're probably going to see him more likely on the third line. But to know that he can move up and down the lineup as needed, that's fantastic.
Well, that's only because of injury, right?
Well, yeah, injury, yeah.
I'm sorry. There's 2 guys on this team right now that I think that, even though they bring some grit and determination, I think that they really, if Ken Holland could find somebody else to take their place, I would. One being Kyler Yamamoto. His trade value is never going to be any bigger than it is right now. He's scoring some goals. He's just so damn small. I get it, fans. He's tenacious. Everybody likes him. The Yamo, whatever. I get it. But at the same time, he's just so small. He is not... a Theon Fleury. He's not a Daniel Briere. I don't think he's ever going to get to that elite level. I think healthy, I just don't see why he's in the top 6. I think on a better team, he would not be in the top 6, and I would move Kyler Yamamoto. Who do you bring in? I really don't know. There's lots of different, other veteran options that may or may not happen. The other person that I would look at, and this is out of left field, is Warren Fogle. I think Warren Fogle came in and Dave Tippett screwed that whole understanding of what Warren Fogle could bring to this club. And I think it's really gone to show is that I think out of all the players that Woodcroft has been, really having an impact on, I think the least impact he's had on, and just my personal opinion, is Warren Fogle because he still hasn't done shit in my eyes. I really don't see him fitting in. Am I out of left field there?
Apparently there's talk that Fogle could be on the move come trade deadline. There are teams calling about him. I liked Fogle at certain points. I like his ability to move up and down the lineup. I don't know if he's ever really just been utilized properly on this team. He seems like he'll go up for one game and then get pulled back.
But it's just out of sorts. And I think Woodcroft has really tried. He's put him in the top 6, and he's pretty much laid an egg. I'm sorry, just like Yamo. I don't care how many pucks you retrieve. Put the fucking puck in the net. Why can't you score more goals? I get it. His contract doesn't negate him to, be a 30 or 40 goal scorer. But I'm sorry, playing on the wing with Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, my expectations are a little bit higher of a, 5'10" forward. I get it. I just think he's too small. And going into the playoffs, he's going to get exposed like he was last year, which means Once they start not calling any penalties, because we all know that's what's going to start happening, I think Yamamoto gets eviscerated and he's erased from that quotient. He's just not big enough. If you can go and take Warren Fogle out and you could take a Yamamoto out and bring in, maybe it's some depth. Like, who are some of the names that are out there that you're hearing right now?
Jake Debresque has a trade request.
Dude, and we've said this ad nauseum. I fucking love this kid. Jake Debresque is exactly who I think an Edmonton Oiler would be. He's from here. The way he plays, and I think having the tutelage of a Woodcroft moving forward, guys like Debresque that, really is. I think that Fogle and Debresque are in the same kind of situations with their clubs right now. Debresque is that guy that he's kind of in that mid-six, kind of getting a look here and there, but Boston's kind of like, well, I don't know. And the Oilers are the same thing with Fogle, right? Do you have to add anything? I don't think so. I think it would be a straight-across move. And I think Fogle going back to the East and DeBrusk coming home, I think that would light a fire under Jake DeBrusk. And I'm sorry, I really think that it would be a huge thing for the Edmonton Oilers.
I'd love to get Jake DeBrusk personally. A lot of people bring up the problem. I mean, it's a real issue. Like, his qualifying offer, I think it's almost $5 million. It's a little under that, but if you move certain players out, there's ways to make it work. Does Jake DeBrusk see a jolt in production? Like, is he someone that would produce more with a Leon Draisaitl? Is he someone that would produce more with a Connor McDavid? Are you going to get better production out of him than you would get out of a Kyler Yamamoto or a Warren Fogle?
100%.
I think so. He's a bigger body. He's not going to get pushed around as easily. Like Mike said,
dude, he's been on a Boston club that's been a bunch of bullies for the last decade, right? He knows how to take care of himself. He's strong on his skates. He's strong on his stick. He's not afraid to throw his weight around. Coming into this last week, we got basically 7 days to go before we play Colorado after the trade deadline. I'm going to be shocked to see it. I think there's going to be some moves. I just don't know if Ken Holland's the GM that would have the balls to make those moves, especially ones that we're talking about.
Well, I think with the way the Oilers are playing right now, they deserve to see some additions made. This is a team that's made a real change under Jay Woodcroft. They're getting better. They're in the playoff hunt. I'd give this team some help. So basically, just to close out this forward segment, if the Oilers can bring in someone like Jake DeBrusk for the top 9, that'd be something we'd look at. Otherwise, I'd probably leave the forward ranks alone unless you can make a massive change, because I think they're okay as they are. If you can bring in a big upgrade, do that. But if there's no big upgrade, probably just leave it alone for this year and focus on goaltending and defense.